Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and this is a preview of Neverrift. Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. It's Professor Meg here, and this is a preview of Neverrift. Thank you to Neverrift for sponsoring this video, and with that in mind, please keep in mind that this is a prototype copy. Everything is subject to change, sample cards, all of that, but this is an upcoming crowdfunding campaign that you can check out the link down below to see everything that they have planned, and thank you to Neverrift for sponsoring this video. Now this is a trading card game where you're going to be playing as different factions with 30 card decks, where you're vying for area control over a 4x4 grid. Now there are other grid layouts that you'll be able to do, such as 3x3 and dueling 4x4 sides, things like that. But the basics of the game will be that you're playing in a 4x4 grid, vying for control over the most creatures possible by playing spells, places, and your own creatures to take control of others. Now you can see here, this is a finished game, so you can see that the 4x4 grid is completely filled out, and it has mostly creatures that have these tokens on them. Now there is the Verdant faction, which has their tokens on this lighter side, and the Sworn on this side are the gray-sided tokens. Now on top of that, there are places that are in play, and there are spells that were played which are in the respective players' discard piles. Now you can see here, this is the end of the game, and you can see, as I mentioned, that 4x4 grid of cards is filled out, showing 16 cards of mostly creatures that have these tokens on them, showing who they currently belong to. There are also places, and there are spells in the players' respective discard piles. Now these tokens represent which faction currently controls that creature. We have the Verdant Pact here and the Sworn over here, and the Sworn are in this gray token, and the Verdant Pact are these beige colors. Now they are just double-sided, so you're able to flip them pretty easily, and I'll show you in a little bit how you'll be gaining control of these different creatures. But the basics are, at the end of the game, you'll have all of these cards filled out, and you will add up how many tokens there are. So for the gray side, which is the Sworn, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and for the Verdant Pact, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Sworn would win in this case because they flat out won. If there was the case of a tie, then whoever played the last card would lose because they should have technically been able to do something a little bit stronger, having the very last play of the game, and the tie will go to whoever didn't take that turn. At the beginning of the game, players are going to draw 6 cards, and they'll be able to mulligan up to 3 cards, and then after that, play will begin. Now that you saw a final game and what the scoring would look like, I actually wiped this board clean so that you can see how the game would actually be played back and forth between the players. But keep in mind, you won't see that full board again, so if you want to see what a finished game looks like, you can rewind a little bit, or there will be a gameplay on the Board Game Co channel between me versus Alex, and you can let me know who you think will win in that game. So I am just going to draw blindly for the sake of moving along in this game, but if we had this player going first, you can see that this is a place, it has a specific ability. The different places can have these abilities that are auras, which is, it would give an effect to the adjacent places. So for example, if this place was played here, it would give an effect to the adjacent places to it, and this one is creatures that come into play don't attack. Normally when you would play a creature, it would be able to attack and then take over that creature so that you gain control of it, but this one would allow you to put that into play and stop that ability. Now, to put another card into play, here we do have a creature. This is a phantom cat. It does have an ability, which is sacrifice. You may choose to destroy a creature you control and play this creature on its field instead. So if you had this in your hand and you wanted to play this, if you did already have another creature on the board, you could destroy it to put your phantom cat into play. Now that would go to your discard pile, but you would be able to put one of your tokens so that it shows that you now control the phantom cat. Now you can see these numbers around it. There's a 5, a 3, and a 2. Those are the strengths on the different sides that it has, and that's how you'll be gaining control of other creatures. So just to show you what that would look like, if we had the Verdant Pact now play a card, if they wanted to take control of this card, if they put it here, it would be a 5 versus 5, and they would not be able to do it. And if they put it here, it would actually be a 3 versus 5, which is far too weak. But if they go to either of the sides, where this guy is a 5 and a 6, you would be able to, so if I played him here, because he's adjacent to this Bramblewoods, he actually wouldn't be able to attack. But if I placed him here instead, he would be able to, and his 6 would beat the 3, meaning that I would put one of my tokens onto this, and then flip the other one as well, so that the control for the Verdant Pact is now growing, and then the Sworn would need to be able to gain additional cards that are played. So, for example, if the Sworn was able to have another creature that they put into play, they would be able to play it over here, and this 8 would beat the 5, therefore giving them control here. Now this is their Haunted Dragon, which has that sacrifice ability instead, but you could always just play it from your hand to play as I showed you to take control of the different creatures. A lot of these cards in the different factions are going to have all different types of abilities that feel natural to the different factions. Now that being said, there are 5 in the game, plus there are normal cards that you are also able to play that everyone has access to, but the 5 factions would be the Outcast, the Verdant Pact, the Free Tribes, the Royal Empire, and the Sworn. And they all do play very differently, where they'll have different abilities that you can kind of count on. But here's an example. I'm going to move this woods because it really is just stopping all of the creatures from attacking. But here you have the Forest Dragon. Now he has the Pierce ability. He also has 7s around all of his stats, which is very strong. But Pierce means that this creature attacks the second creature in line as well. So it would use the strength of 7, and if both of these were currently controlled by the Sworn, you would be able to have control of your Forest Dragon and also attack both of these ways to be able to take control of those creatures as well. Now the pace of play of the game is that players are going to go back and forth drawing a card and then playing a card. You'll be able to play a creature or a place, but you can also play any number of spells that you also have in your hand, which can really change the game. You can use some spells that will let you move different creatures around the board, move the different places, and you'll be able to just straight up destroy things as well. Now there are cards that destroy cards from the center here. They destroy places and creatures, and that will kind of change how many turns you'll play throughout the game. Because there are only these 16 spots, and once all of that is filled, the end game will be triggered, which is when you'll count who has the most control over the most amount of creatures. But if anything is destroyed, that will change who will have the last turn, and what you might be able to do, and how many turns you have to be able to do it. And that is the basics of Neverrift. So with that, I think a lot of the detail in the game comes with the cards and the abilities. So I'm going to read a couple of those off just so you can kind of get an idea of how the factions can be different and the different things that they'll be able to do. So I read examples from the Sworn and the Verdant Pact, and now I'm going to move on to a couple of others just so you can see what they would do. Alright, and this card is from the Outcast faction. This is a creature, but it has the ability Anchor, which means this creature can only be moved by its controller, and you get to draw a card when you play it. So this would be a creature that is a really great staple, especially with how strong it is, that it wouldn't be moved by anyone except its controller. Now, a card for the Royal Empire would be this Ivory Dragon here, and it has the ability Liberate. Whenever this creature tames a creature, it tames the creature on its opposite side as well. So that's a way that you can use this to leverage other creatures and really decide where you want to be placing them to try to capture as many different creatures as possible. You're taming them, that is the technical term because you are playing as tamers. Alright, and the Free Tribes card is the Harpy, which has the ability Onslaught. Whenever this creature was moved, it attacks again, which can be extremely strong, especially if you have spells that are moving these harpies around. You're able to tame a lot of the creatures around them because it is quite strong. Now this is the final thing that I'll show you, but these are pre-production samples, and these are foils that are planned for the game. I really wish lighting was able to do it justice. You can kind of see up in this spot here, but the gold that is on these is very, very cool. It stands out in a way that hopefully we'll be able to photograph for the Board Game Co. Instagram, but it looks absolutely beautiful. And as I always say, I recommend checking out their campaign page to see all of these in their full glory the way they should be. Ooh, you guys, I'm sorry for the cut, but all of a sudden I got this to like show in the reflection. So you can see the guy at the bottom, he's like a gold thickness that stands out, but it's also foil underneath the card as well. This has been a preview of Neverrift. I'm Professor Meg, and as a reminder, you can check out the link down below to see everything that they have planned for this campaign and find out more about it and follow along. Thank you all for watching the Board Game Co. channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!